Hi, I'm going to take you for a walk in my studio to show you some of the things that I do. So let's go. So welcome to my studio. We're in the basement now, and it's been the most amazing refuge from all of the heat recently because it's so cool down here. I do a lot of work with different materials, and you can see on the walls quite a lot of things that I'll show you in a bit more detail. But most things I do start with painting, and on the table here are some pieces that I've been working on recently. Just new ideas using inks and paints, layering different images, charcoal, pencil. I just like to play as much as I can in a very loose way with the materials so that I can not be too controlling about it. And I think they're looking good. I'm quite pleased with them, so we'll see where that goes. Then over here there's a little piece that I've been working on with gesso, and I've not used this before, so it's quite interesting. I rather like over here this little sample. It seems to give me a nice kind of ancient fresco look, which I really rather like, so I'm going to try experimenting a little bit more and see where that goes. I work in lots of different mediums, and this is one that I really like. It's a way that I can take something that I make as a flat image and turn it into a more three-dimensional piece. So I'm taking parts of my paintings and reproducing them on acetate, which I'm then cutting and pinning onto a backing to give a three-dimensional outcome. And if I just go on the side here, you can probably see where it's sticking out from the frame. But I really like to work this way, and for me, I call this three-dimensional painting. It's assembled in a very loose way, and I rather like to work like that because it means I can invent as I go along. These are painted canvases, and then just moving around a little bit, going to more of the fabrics. Again, I'm using all the images from painting, original painting, and playing around with them, putting them back onto different materials and to see how they work. So here we've got, this is a marbled velvet. There's some more velvets here, and the images actually come up really well on velvet. And then up here I've got some linen, more linen down here, and then a little bit of chiffon. And then here, these pieces are some playtime pieces, really. They were just great fun to do, mixing paint and ink and mark making, doing it in a very quick way just to see what came up. But I really like them, and I've used them already in quite a few things. And this little piece here is a tapestry. It was an experimental tapestry course that I went on, just grabbing anything I could from the studio. So there's lots of different mixes of materials like paper and wood and plastic and tapestry and canvas. This little orange thing here is actually a CD. So I don't think it hangs together too well as a proper tapestry, but I really liked it and I really enjoyed it. So that's why it's up there. This is just a random collection of objects that I've amassed over the time I've been here, and I just rather like it as a group of things. Some of it is stuff that I've made myself. Some of it is things that people have given me, and yeah, I just like it as a collection of objects. This is my heat press, and I use this for transferring images onto synthetic fabric, and I've got a few little examples over here. So this is the kind of thing that you can do on polyesters and anything synthetic, really. You can get some really nice bright colours. You can also do some very subtle overlays. So it's another piece of kit. And going around here, this is, gosh, how am I going to describe this? This is where a lot of things that happen while I'm making other things end up. And it's a collection really of bits and pieces, odd times when I'm making something and just a tiny bit of it is really interesting, but it's not quite what I wanted. So I stick them up here because I might use them another time. And actually over time it's grown to be a piece in itself. It's a sort of three-dimensional hanging garden, if you like. And I really like it. And sometimes when I get stuck and I don't think I haven't got any ideas, then I'll look at this and something may come. This is a piece of silk, which is some colour tests that I did. And actually it was meant to be just a tester piece, but I really like it because you can see very immediate brush strokes on there, and I just like it as a piece of work. And this is some Devore, which again is another printing method of extracting part of a material and leaving the other part, so you get this kind of lovely see-through effect. A few files and the usual art studio stuff, lots of rolls of paper, and these are my paint samples, so this is rather like my palette, I suppose. I like to work on canvas, so this is where I mix up colours and then make lots and lots of notes to remind me exactly what it was that I did. So now we're going into the cleaner end of the studio, which is where I do anything that doesn't involve paint or mess. And this is just a wall covered in things that people have sent me, pictures of exhibitions I've seen, things that inspire me, things I like, messages from friends. It's just nice to have up there. And this is my desk. This is where I spend a lot of time. When I've done my paintings, I often digitize them, and I can then come over here and start working on different ways of producing different kinds of work. So these two are actually some of the test pieces from the paintings that were in the other room on the table. So I'm just working my way through those to see if we can come up with something nice. Paper sculpture is something else that I do, and I love books. I love reading, but I wondered what I could do with a book when it was finished, other than read it again, of course, or give it away. And so the idea came to make a sculpture to see if there was another purpose for the book. And I studied some Japanese methods of origami and kirigami, which is folding and cutting of paper, and created these pieces out of books. This one is actually a book of poems by Leonard Cohen, and I was actually halfway through it when I heard on the news that he died, so it's a bit of a poignant piece really. But it's called Bird on the Wire, after one of his poems. And I just love the idea that you can turn a book from something that you've read into another tactile object that has a life of its own. This is another piece of paper sculpture. This one was in response to the D-Day anniversary, and I wanted to do something that highlighted the story of the pilots in the Second World War, who were not just the famous Spitfire pilots that everybody hears about, but the women who delivered the planes and all of the pilots from across the Commonwealth who fought and sometimes died in the war. And I called it Parachute. Over time, as I was cutting and folding and creating this piece, it just seemed to me that it hung there in the air like a parachute. So that's how the name came about. This is a monoprint, just on some cotton paper, very quick print using blank screens and pattern screens. I think I did this quite quickly at the end of a 3 or 4 days of working when I had some things left over. So I'm really pleased with that. It was a very quick piece, but often the quick pieces are the best. Over here are canvases, some of them rolled up because I've had to use the stretchers again, but some of them still on stretchers. This piece here is one that I've just recently finished, and it's part of a body of work that's coming out of lockdown actually, from my wanderings around near the coast and the feeling of the clarity of the colour and the air and the sound, and I'm really pleased with those. I think there's quite a lot more I can do there. Bookcases, loads and loads of books. I have so many, and I love all of them. I probably don't look at many of them as much as I should, but they're there and they provide me with inspiration, or they're just for reading. This is a sort of self-portrait. This is a kind of attempt to explain what goes on in my head when I'm thinking all the time of all of this pattern and colour and things that I notice and then translate back into my work. A few more things here. This is a print of a digitised and manipulated image of a paper sculpture. The red piece is an experimental tapestry that, again, I was just using things lying around in the studio. These are prints from paintings. And then up over here is more paper sculpture. These are smaller pieces. There's some larger pieces down here. All the pattern and the colour come from images of paintings. So again, it's just another way of using what I do in different formats. This is a hanging piece. And these are some cushions that I've been working on, just translating some of the paintings into fabric and seeing how well they work on cushions. I hope you enjoyed your visit. It's been nice showing you around. Details on my website and social media pages are at the end of the video. Thanks for dropping in.